If it looks like a student cheated on a test, you might not think to blame a teacher first, but we've learned it happens. We can all relate to dreading a test or hoping our kids get a good enough score, but we also know there are rules. Good evening, I'm Brittany Pieper.
And I'm Jim Rick. Thanks for joining us. We found sometimes those rules are being broken on standardized tests by those taking and giving the test. Target 8 Chief Investigator Jamie Gray joins us with the pressure to perform.
Anytime there is an issue, a discrepancy on a standardized test, schools have to let the state know. After working for weeks on this story, KOMU-8's Rachel Whittle found dozens of reported incidents this year. She's live in Jefferson City. Rachel, you found some issues with both students and teachers on Missouri's standardized tests.
I found out the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education recorded 78 map testing irregularities this year, 18 of those happening within the KOMU-8 viewing area. Now, when I say testing irregularities, that does not always mean cheating, but records I obtained from the department here say students are not the biggest culprits when it comes to cheating. Teachers mentor and prepare students for standardized tests. But records from the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, or DESE, show sometimes that help turns into cheating.
You know, it really is unfair to the children in a situation like that because they don't have an opportunity to really demonstrate how much they know. One of the good things about a test, and I think we can all testify to that, is that when you get a test back and you did well, you feel good.
I requested irregularities in MAP tests and end of course, or EOC tests, and there were 78 incidents reported this year. I found 18 of those happened in the KOMU-8 viewing area. Cases range from a test examiner giving answers to Max Creek High students on the American History and Government EOC tests, to a Montgomery R2 teacher erasing a graph on a student's test book. Another third grade teacher allegedly showed her third grade daughter the reading prompt to her grade level test at Windsor Elementary in Henry County R1. But the superintendent denied this act and said test scores should not be invalidated. Out of the 18 cases reported within the KOMU-8 viewing area, about half of those involved improper teacher assistance. The rest of the reports involved irregularities like students going beyond test limit times or taking pictures of the test using Snapchat and then posting it to Instagram.
I think the kids feel stress, but I think the teachers really feel pressure to perform.
Michael Minks from DESE says sometimes teachers and students just go too far.
People who are going to cheat are going to cheat. If they feel like their situation is so desperate that they need to cheat, they will cheat.
This pressure might grow more following the fate of Amendment 3 on the November ballot, which would require teachers to undergo evaluations based on their students' standardized test results. I talked about that issue with one of the superintendents of a district that had 4 reported irregularities this year, Jefferson City.
Anytime there's increased accountability, there's increased pressure, and especially when that accountability is tied to a single test.
With the potential for teachers to feel this way, DESE says cheating prevention measures are even more important.
We've been giving end-of-course exams online since 2008. So we have quite a bit of experience there. We're moving grade level online this year. They are going to be computer adaptive, which means every student is getting a slightly different test all the way through. So I can look over at your computer screen and it isn't going to help me much because we've got different things potentially.
Mink says DESE is also trying a new process this year during online tests to better detect irregularities.
This year we're starting with a process called data forensics, which is where it's more of a look at what happened with the student answers.
This process targets classrooms to find trends between which answers change to what and how many times to catch cheating right away. Despite the increase in testing irregularities this year, the department and superintendents I spoke to say out of all the tests they give, 78 irregularities seems relatively small. Amendment 3 is on the ballot tomorrow, and if it passes, teachers will undergo performance evaluations based on their students' standardized test results to determine whether they should be dismissed, retained, demoted, or promoted. It would also stop teachers from collectively bargaining over these terms. Live in Jefferson City, Rachel Whittle, KOMU-8 News.
Rachel, thank you very much. In other news, state and local issues on tomorrow's ballot have divided Columbia voters. Last week, we previewed the top ballot issues on our website. To hear what you think, KOMU-8's Han Bataa has the poll results on the most divisive issue.
That's right, Jim. Columbia's Proposition 2 split our poll respondents with 43% in favor and 57% against. The measure would increase development fees in the city. Gus Anderson says he disagrees with the fee increase. On our Facebook, he said, "I haven't seen a pay raise in over 10 years. The government can see more money once I see more money." Edward Riccati sides with the 43% of poll respondents in favor of the vote. He argues the amendment places the tax burden on the right shareholders. He said, quote, "If you vote against the Prop 2, just remember that vote when you are complaining there isn't a snowplow to dig you out for days. The money that would have been used to purchase a plow just went to a low-quality development." Polling places are open from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. on tomorrow's Election Day. Be sure to turn into KOMU8 News and KOMU.com for full election coverage as the results pour in tomorrow.
Boone County Clerk Wendy Noren expects about 30% of registered voters in the county to head to the polls tomorrow. She also says Mid-Missourians need to check their assigned voting location, as many have recently changed. MU political science professor Marvin Overby says the real problem is getting the public's attention when elections lack contention or competition. If you don't know where you're supposed to vote, you can visit our website at KOMU.com for information.
Voters needing more information on legislators for tomorrow's midterms now have an easy-to-use website. AccessMissouri.org launched today and provides details on each state legislator. It shows voting history, campaign contributions, and how closely they affiliate with a party. A $25,000 grant paid for groups like radio station KBIA and the Missouri Informatics Institute to help develop the site.
The point of the website is to basically make it really easy for Missouri voters to understand and comprehend all this really complex state data that is available publicly. That's what's really nice. It is available publicly from the state, but it's just all over the place.
Muehlner says the website isn't meant to sway a voter, just to make them more aware of who they're voting for. You can access that site with a link on KOMU.com.
Of course, KOMU8 News wants you to be an informed voter. We've compiled our election coverage into our Smart Decision 2014 election guide. You can find it at KOMU.com.
There could be some rain on the way, so let's check in with Rosie for a look at that radar.
A Columbia grocery chain wants to add a gas station on the west side of town. Tonight, the City Council voted on the addition of a gas station to the Gerbs at Clinkscales in West Ash. KOMU8's Ariel Ruffin joins us live from the City Council meeting with an update.
The City Council meeting just ended, and the Council voted all in favor of the Gerbs gas station. In October, City Council requested amendments and tabled the ordinance. Today, the Council approved the new amendments and heard more comments from the public. A few of those amendments included having fewer pumps, shorter hours of operation, and adding charging stations for electric vehicles. The public is also concerned for an increase in traffic in the area. Most of the public comments were in favor of the addition. The council voted to table ban the box proposal tonight in order to give the Chamber of Commerce more time to evaluate the issue. The council also voted to pass an increase in sewer deposits, which will increase the utility setup fees in the city. Reporting live in Columbia, Ariel Ruffin, KOMU8 News.
The Columbia City Council also heard a report tonight that outlines how Columbia could become a major hub for competitive youth sports in Missouri. Consultants hired by the Columbia Convention and Visitors Bureau with the Parks and Recreation Department looked into the city's current sports tourism. They looked into how the city could add a multi-sport outdoor and indoor facility, as well as a sports commission, which would handle setting up tournaments. The CVB director says youth sports are really important to the economy, and history shows that.
Back in 2008, when the economy started to dip, the first thing people did was cancel their family vacations because they didn't have the extra money to spend on that. What they did not do was cancel traveling with their youth sports.
Schneider said cooperation between the city and the county could be a huge part of this. No formal recommendations were presented tonight.
Columbia Police could get a state grant. Coming up in 9 minutes, how the money would be spent.